I think for those who have listened to past episodes, I have a special place in my heart for Ozzy.
Yeah, you do.
I did not really pay attention to him in his early years. I feel like there is a Ozzy timeline, and I did not really understand Ozzy and become attracted to
Hmm.
Ozzy until he had that reality show. Sharon!
You know
Like,
Ozzy as the TV star, not as the musician.
correct. And I like Ozzy when Ozzy's just singing and he's not in, what was that band that he was in? What
Black
was it?
Sabbath.
Well, whatever that band was that I didn't really like. I'm just being nasty, right? I like Ozzy on his own, if I'm being honest. I feel like his vocals really clearly show. He sings some different music. So I
Hmm.
actually really enjoyed this song. I hadn't heard it before.
This was because this was 86. Ultimate
Mhm.
Sin came out, and this was Ozzy's second record post. Well, I should actually say third record post Randy Rhoads. There was a
Okay.
live record in between that he did because he went out there. He played all these Black Sabbath songs. He had
Mhm.
Brad Gillis from Night Ranger play guitar. He was just in this really. He was obviously super depressed, almost pretty much hung up music because the whole Randy Rhoads dying in a plane crash thing.
Sure.
After resurrecting his
As so many
career,
have. My God.
um, almost completely left music again.
Yeah.
And then he did Bark at the Moon with Jakey Lee, was totally revitalized. That album really put Ozzy back. And then Ultimate Sin to me is a really awesome I think what you just said, Ozzy being a solo artist, I think it was a really great mature step for him musically.
Yes.
Jakey Lee, I love Jakey Lee's guitar playing, and this record to me, as far as being a guitar player, is
Mhm.
like incredible
Sure.
guitar because it just sounds so good, and guitar playing is solid. Ozzy sounds clean, like his vocals sound clean. It's a
They
really
sound
well
really
produced record,
good.
and this song is actually, for being a quote unquote darker kind of a song, very poppy, very catchy.
Well,
And
and I
this was a video that MTV played a lot. And so, because you didn't watch MTV
correct.
back in the day, you definitely were not exposed to this. And
No.
I mean, it's a rock radio song, but once again, you don't listen to a lot of rock radio. So
Right.
I could see how this song was not like on your radar at all in
Not at all,
1986.
because I think it's one of Ozzy's biggest hits, isn't it?
It's one of his biggest hits as far as that goes in 86. This hit number 68 in the US. I mean, obviously, Crazy Train now is like a huge. I mean, everybody knows Crazy
Yeah.
Train, and
Yeah.
back in then, I mean, Crazy Train was a hit, but not to the point of like that Shot in the Dark was back in the
Sure.
day. Just because, once again, MTV
Yeah.
and the sound and all that. So
Yeah.
at the time, it turned out to be one of Ozzy's bigger hits. And still, I mean, it's still a huge, like, it's on greatest hits compilations. I mean, it's definitely a
Mhm.
well-known, like, beloved song by Ozzy fans. I mean, I
Yeah.
still love this song a lot. I mean, this whole record to me, front and back, is absolutely awesome.
I feel like
Um,
I probably would enjoy this record.
I think you would. However, there's some really great songs on this record, like Ultimate Sins, like, is kind of a heavier, but it's just like everything's heavy, but not in like screaming. It's just for that sound, like 86. It's a great tone, and everything is just well written.
But,
Yeah.
this would have been a very good when we did our stalker playlist, our
Yeah.
stalker show. We cover all topics here on the Song
Right.
Swap Showdown. I think the beginning of this, it has that creepy-ish sound, that stalker sound. In fact, I even thought this would have been a really good song to play in some of the Freddy movies.
Yeah, you're right, because especially back in then, I mean, because you have
Yes,
like
they were
Dokken was on Dream
yes,
Warriors, and you had Vinnie Vincent Invasion with Love Kills. Like, it would have fit right in with any of
the
those, like, yeah,
many
Nightmare on Elm Street, or
yes,
Friday the 13th, because a
for
lot of
sure.
like the like more like metal bands from that time were like Alice Cooper was just contributing songs to
Yeah.
Friday the 13th. So it's a shot like later on, Shocker would come out, and you had Megadeth on that soundtrack. So it was definitely a thing. And I guess, I don't know, Ozzy never really, I don't know if he was offered that stuff and just said, nah, I'm not interested in doing
Mhm.
movie soundtrack stuff. But yeah, this song definitely has that, like, it's like a deranged, like, stalker, like, as
Yeah.
songfacts.com says. In this case, it's more literal, with Ozzy in a deranged stalker mode. He's shot in the dark, creeping up to strike you when you least expect it.
Perfect
um,
for Freddy
yeah.
Krueger.
Exactly. Which is funny though. So here's the thing: is in this is a funny thing on Song Facts, because Phil Sousan, who wrote a lot of songs with Ozzy between this record and a few of the other records, and actually wrote the song as a reference to the 1964 Pink Panther. Well, I'm a big Pink Panther fan, by the way. Shot in the Dark. That was one of the Pink Panther movies, A Shot in the Dark. And Phil Sousa, who's British, is a big fan of the Pink Panther series and says the original lyrics had more to do with the film, but Ozzy changed them to be much more nefarious. And, you know, if anybody knows, they're bumbling, like they're all slapstick comedy stuff. So I can only imagine what the original lyrics of Shot in the Dark, like being about Inspector Clouseau and all that. And it's like, I think it would have lost a lot of its, like, you know, feel to it for sure.
I love it. Okay, so do I love the song? I actually like it. I'm not gonna be disrespectful to Ozzy and give him a 2.3 like you did.
Oh, okay.
I won't. But Dave's coming in as I grew up on Black Sabbath, but the 1986 Ozzy had lost his luster for him. Very interesting because I feel like that's when he began to sparkle for Amanda.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and Dave, to Dave's point, I mean, two very different musical styles when you think about it. Like Sabbath, just, you know, dark, brooding, very blues based, like, you know, early, you know, classic rock, heavy metal stuff, like the grandfathers of that sound. Whereas Ozzy kind of, you know, just surrounded himself with musicians and producers of the time and songwriters of the time who were writing, you know, things that, like, this is, and with Ozzy's voice, like, it was just different, you know, it was completely different. I mean, sound wise, guitar playing, flashy guitar playing. Tony Iommi, great guitar player, never a flashy guitar player, whereas like Ozzy always had the guitar hero, you know, as especially after Randy Rhoads. I mean, forget it. Like, this is like, first of all, you can't ever replace Randy Rhoads. All you can ever do is try to get people who have that same, you know, or that flash, that style, that pizzazz, that like, you know, make great guitar solos and awesome riffs and all that stuff. So, and Jakey Lee was on Bark at the Moon in this record and left. Him and Ozzy did not get along. Him and Sharon did not get along. Like, it just was a very bad breakup between Jakey Lee and Ozzy. To this day, they still do not talk well of each other. But
all right, so where do I really rate this?
Where do you rate Shot in the Dark?
I'll tell you after you play a little clip of the song. Love it so much. I probably honestly wouldn't even put it on, except I probably will play this whole record and just listen to it to better indulge in Ozzy.
I think you might like this record as a whole. Because it just sounds great and the songs are very good. There's a great song on here, always one of my favorites, called Lightning Strikes, on this record.
Okay.
Awesome opening riff. Awesome opening riff. I mean, Ultimate Sin's like, I heard it's like dun, 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 it's got the big drum, like it's a big kind of an arena song. Like, you've probably even heard it at sporting games, like the opening of that and all that. Like they've played it in arenas. I mean, I still hear it, like if I go to a Giants game or any NFL game, you still hear it like the dun, 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 you know, it's definitely got that fist pumping you know, sound. But Lightning Strikes is a great riff, man. It's a good one, yeah.
I will listen to it. I promise.
So Dave's saying it's funny Ozzy Shot in the Dark and Queen's the Night at the Opera were both inspired by older comedies. Yeah, actually, great point. And I didn't even know that about that until I read the Songfacts.com article about being, you know, Pink Panther inspired. So,
all right. So where do I rate this?
Where are you rating Ozzy? 1986 Ozzy. Where is it coming in?
I was going to give it. No, I'm kidding. I'm not changing my score. I'm giving it a 3.2, which is still above average for me.
I'm going to celebrate it. I'm celebrating the 3.2.
I think 3.2 is very fair.
Coming off the heels of my 2.3 of Reba.